All right, so right now we're talking about whether or not you should red pill your friends, okay? All your buddies who you feel are still blue pill, are still living with those old blue pill idealisms that are not serving them. Should you go ahead and red pill these guys? And the short answer to that is it depends, okay? Because there are some guys who are ready to be red pilled, just waiting to be red pilled. They're waiting for this information that you may possess from watching videos like mine. And these guys are generally searching for answers. Okay? And the thing you have to understand about guys who end up going red pill in the first place, most of the guys overwhelmingly who find the red pill are coming from a very harsh breakup, okay, where they got dumped, might have gotten divorced, raped, and they're generally coming from a situation where a woman treated them poorly, okay, and they got left behind. They got cheated on, divorced, or just flat out left out in the cold. These are the type of guys that will want to fix what happened, okay? They're not going to sit there and, blame the woman. I mean, they might to a certain degree, but after so many times of it happening, you start to wonder, like, okay, what am I doing wrong? And this is often how most guys find the pickup community. Okay, most guys find the pickup community because they are coming from a harsh breakup and they're looking for answers because they don't want history to repeat itself. So they find us, they find dating coaches, and we give them the answers to help fix their sticking points. So history does not repeat itself in their next relationship. For most guys, actually finding the pickup community is the first dose of red pills that they come across, okay? Because there is no faster way to be red pilled than to go out there and actually cold approach attractive women on the street, okay? No faster way to be red pilled, because you learn very quickly that all of the Disney bullshit you were raised with does not reflect reality. It's not congruent with reality, much less how women actually are. Okay, women are not these perfect, flawless little princesses that you've been led to believe all your years growing up. Thanks to Disney movies, Hollywood. You might have watched movies like Titanic, where you saw Rose saving Jack. She wouldn't leave the boat without him. And I'm not going to say that at that time in that era that a woman may not have done that, okay? It might be our great-grandmothers who were in that situation. Would she have done that for her husband? Possibly. Today's woman, if fast forward today, if there was a situation like that with Titanic and there was a modern-day 21st century Rose, would she jump off that lifeboat to be with her man? I doubt it. I wouldn't put money on it. However, we all have friends, both male and female, who, for the most part, just don't get it, right? They just wouldn't understand. And you can kind of sense, too, that, certain friends of yours would likely be turned off by the red pill. They would probably get a bit offended by it. Now, why would they get offended by reality, right? Because a lot of the red pill truths are based on reality. It's not based on any idealisms, any theories, any biased opinions, okay? It's based in reality. Why would they get offended? The reason they get offended is because it disrupts their own narcissistic view of how they think the world should work and how they naively believe the world works, okay? It disrupts that reality that they've been living in, and this is why I often say that, some guys are so embedded into the matrix, right? They're so plugged into the matrix, their entire lives are basically structured on the matrix, that unplugging them would actually be dangerous. And we've seen this happen. We've seen this play out with a number of high-profile people, celebrities, where they kind of get red pilled by default, and they get pulled out of their old blue pill beliefs and values, and they get red pilled by default. Whether their wife leaves them suddenly, cheats on them, files for divorce, they get red pilled out of nowhere. And for a lot of these guys, they're so embedded into those old blue pill idealisms, it's too much for them to take. And then they put a rope around their neck and they hang themselves, or they put a gun in their mouth and they shoot themselves because it's too much to take. So there are going to be friends of yours who are not going to be ready to be unplugged from the matrix. And I always say there's a certain age limit where it probably doesn't make sense to unplug anymore. Like if you're in your 70s, for example, if you're in your mid to late 70s and you've been married to the same woman for 30, 40 years, it probably doesn't make sense to unplug now, because it would probably hurt you more than help you. Okay, you're likely, if you've been married to this woman that long, you're already in your mid to late 70s, you're probably going to finish your lives together. You probably had a great time being married together, especially if you've been married that long. Sure, you may have had your fights and disagreements, but obviously you're still together. Just finish out your life, stay plugged into the matrix, you'll be fine. Okay, but for you guys who are still young enough, right? And I'm not saying 70 isn't young. I mean, it depends on how you take care of yourself. But for you guys who are in your 20s, especially, you're very young. 30s are still young. 40s, still young. Even your 50s, okay? Still young enough to unplug yourself from the matrix and start living with the rest of us in reality. The thing you have to understand is, even though you red pill yourself, you are still going to be living in a blue pill world. Just because you go red pill doesn't mean everyone around you is suddenly going to go red pill. Okay, and I did a previous coaching video on this called red pill isolation, how it can feel very isolating once you go red pill, and you can feel very alone because not a whole lot of people out there are going to share your ideas and your beliefs, just because everybody else out there is so, again, embedded into the matrix. Their lives are structured on the fake values and beliefs of that matrix that they're not willing to unplug. All right, they're not strong enough to unplug yet, or they haven't had a situation happen to them where it's been necessary for them to unplug. Because a lot of guys, if things are going fine and they don't really have any rough waves in their life, there's really no reason for them to unplug at this time. Okay, it goes back to Newton's first law of motion. An object in motion stays in motion, while an object at rest stays at rest, unless forced to move by an outside force, okay, or an outside event, something catastrophic that happens to them, right? And in most guys' situations who find the red pill, that catastrophic situation is often the end of their relationship, the ending of their relationship suddenly and unexpectedly, where their girl just gets up and leaves them, or starts cheating on him and he finds out about it, or divorces him and tries to take custody of the kids. That's generally the situation that is pretty stressful for most guys, stressful enough for them to go out and seek answers, and that's how they find the red pill. But as I was saying, most people, most of your friends, most of your family members, okay, and most of the people in your social circle, you have to understand their entire existence is basically built on the matrix, okay? It's built on the disgenuine and inauthentic beliefs and values of the matrix. So much so that they would not know how to function properly in life without it. So for people like these, in your social circle, they are not ready to be red pilled. And if you attempt to red pill them, they're going to think you're crazy. They're going to think you have anger issues. They're going to think you're a little too over analytical. You think too much. They're going to try to shame you. They're going to be like, oh, who hurt you? Or what do you have, like daddy issues or mommy issues? What's wrong with you? That's not being a nice person. They're going to try to shame you in a multitude of ways. There's only going to be a very, very small percentage of your of people in your social circle, both male and female, who are going to be ready to be red pilled, who are going to get it. Because most people out there are very, very easily manipulated and have been manipulated for years, since birth, by the feminine primary order, right? Basically, all this feminist indoctrination that we've all been getting since birth, whether it be through Hollywood, movies, TV shows, advertising, sports, you name it. We're constantly being pounded over the head to accept more feminist beliefs into our own ideologies, into our own belief patterns, into our own system of values. It takes a lot of internal strength to recognize that. It takes a lot of self-awareness to recognize that and unplug from that. And most of your friends in your social circle are just not ready to do that. Okay, but the small percentage that are, and you'll be able to spot these people, because when you have conversations with them, they are not going to be, cheerleading for the establishment. They're not going to be cheerleading for the gynocracy. They're not going to be regurgitating all of those feminist talking points that they got from CNN and MSNBC and all the late night talk show hosts. Okay, your friends who are ready to be red-pilled are going to be a lot more self-aware, to the point where they're going to be able to recognize the manipulations in society, the blue pill manipulations that are going on in society today, that most people can't. And that most people, even if they do recognize it, are fearful to speak up about. Because once you go red pill, you lose that fear. You stop caring what people think, because you have a bit of anger in you. Okay, you're going to be carrying a bit of anger in you, and a bit of resentment, and almost a bit of bitterness, just because of all of the injustices that you blindly accepted your entire life. It's finally going to come to a head, and you're going to be like, if anybody tries to feed me any more of that blue pill shit, I'm going to let them have it, right? I think they call it red pill rage. You're going to be so frustrated where you're just going to be like, hey, if anybody tries to replug my ass back into the matrix, I'm going to let you have it. I'm going to give it to you, right? And you're going to try to school them. And a lot of these people, by the way, again, most people are not going to get it. They're just not ready to be red-pilled. Like I said, it's hard to red-pill someone whose entire life is structured on the matrix, is structured on those fake beliefs and values that the matrix has indoctrinated us with and embedded into our programming our entire lives. It's really hard to unplug from that. And it really takes a shake-up to recognize just how deeply you've been manipulated your entire life. It really takes a shakeup, and often that shakeup comes in the form of a catastrophe happening in your life. Like I said, it's usually the end of your relationship with your girl. Maybe a girl that you loved, that you trusted, you thought was your best friend, you thought loved you unconditionally, and then you wake up to the truth, man, women can't actually love you unconditionally. They're not wired to do that, which they aren't. If you want to research my video on YouTube about why women can't love you, it's on my dating channel. You could do that. But you wake up to a lot of red pill truths when you have something catastrophic happen in your life. Something big, something major, like a major shift in your life. And for most guys, it's usually the end of their relationship, because most guys put a lot of emotional, financial, and mental investment into their relationship with their partners. When the girl just gets up and leaves like it's nothing, like you barely meant anything to her, it's pretty shocking for a lot of guys. And a good number of guys, it's too much to handle, and then they put the rope around their neck and they hang themselves. Not all of your friends in your social circle are going to be ready to be red-pilled. Many of them will try to shame you. Many of them will try to tell you you're crazy, that you're just angry, that you're getting bitter. You're like a bitter old man. If you hang on to those beliefs, mister, you're gonna die old and alone. No one's gonna want to be with you. A lot of women out there love to use that feminist shaming language, but then again, a lot of beta male cuck men out there, SJWs, love to use that same shaming language too. Right? Because they're trying to keep you plugged in the matrix as well. They're trying to keep you subservient to the feminine primary, right? Because they are. So they're trying to make sure you stay in line and that you continue to serve the feminist agenda. All right, where guys who are self-aware, they don't want to be part of that shit anymore. I mean, I don't want to be part of that shit anymore. I've been there. Okay, I was plugged into the matrix for most of my life. I really just recently unplugged about I'd say a little over a decade ago. It took me a while to do it, and I was out there doing pickups, so I knew the true nature of women. I knew the true nature of females. I learned it through doing game. And I've often said, a guy who does enough pickup, does enough approaches out there, after a while, you start to see reality, and you start to drop all of this Disney bullshit that has never served you in your entire life, and then you just start to live a lot more of a red-pilled lifestyle. And as long as you can accept the red pill, because it's a bitter pill to swallow, you will have and enjoy a more successful life than you would have if you had stayed blue pill. The thing about going red pill is, once you go red pill, you cannot go back. Okay, you just can't go back. You cannot unsee what you've seen. You just can't do it. You can't put the toothpaste back in the bottle, so to speak. When it comes to red pilling your friends, just understand that only a select few will be ready to be red pilled, and you'll be able to identify who those select few friends in your social circle actually are, because they will not, like I said, they will not be regurgitating the talking points they got from CNN or MSNBC or all those late night talk show hosts, and Trevor Noah and all that other nonsense, Jimmy Fallon. They're not going to be regurgitating all of that blue pill crap that they learned from the Matrix. No, instead, they're going to be talking a lot more individualistically and less collectively, because people who are still plugged into the Matrix are often very collective in their mindset. They're collectivists. They think of people as a group and not as individuals with their own wants and their own individual desires and needs and beliefs. Instead, they see everybody as a collective. Okay, and this is going to be a recurring pattern that you see with friends of yours who are not ready to be unplugged from the Matrix. I mean, you could even just look on your Facebook. I mean, I could tell you point blank which one of my friends, the few that I have left on there on Facebook that are still blue pill, that are not ready to be unplugged and may never unplug. These are the same people that every time election season comes around, they're supporting the next female president, not because of her policies, but just for the fact that she's female, and they want to continue the gynocracy, and they want to continue feeding more into the feminine primary. Okay, you'll be able to spot these people in your social circle. Okay, like I said, I don't have many blue pill friends left. A lot of them have cut me off voluntarily by their own choice. I haven't even had to delete them out of my lives. They've deleted me. A lot of them deleted me around the time Trump was running for office, because they were like, "Hey, you're going for Hillary, right? You're going for Hillary." A lot of my friends from San Francisco, my old friends there, and I'm like, "No, absolutely not." Because again, once you're red pilled, you're not ashamed of speaking up. And I was like, "No, absolutely not." What? Why are you serious? You want Trump? He's a racist. Anybody who wears that MAGA hat is a racist. You'll often hear your blue pill friends say things like that. Again, they're regurgitating talking points that they're getting directly from that blue pill matrix, okay, and the blue pill mainstream media. They're very, very predictable, and it's to a point where they're sadly predictable, and they're sadly and pathetically transparent. They sadly look like a bunch of robots, right? They don't even look like people anymore. They just look like robots who have been programmed to say and believe whatever is coming from their masters, right? And of course, anyone they disagree with is automatically a racist, a bigot, a misogynist. You must hate women. You know how many times I get that on my channel? You must hate women. It's like, why? Because I'm exposing female nature? Because I'm trying to red pill my audience base? I mean, it makes no sense. It's like, if I hated women, would I be making my living as a dating coach? Would I still be out there doing pickup and game? No, I would have left a long time ago. And if anybody's going to hate women, believe me, it should be me. After the tens of thousands of approaches I've done and all the bullshit I put up with women, I still continue to date them. I still continue to enjoy their company. And no, it's not because I'm a pussyvagger, you MGTOWs. It's not because of that at all. It's just because I enjoy having women in my life. I like that balance between having men in my life and women in my life. Obviously, if you hate women, you're not going to be out there trying to cold approach women. So that makes no sense. But that's typical feminist shaming language to try to shut down the argument. But guess what? It no longer works, because people laugh at that now. I mean, it's sad because what if somebody is actually a racist? It doesn't mean anything anymore, right? What if somebody is actually being sexually harassed? Thanks to Me Too, that Me Too shit, it doesn't mean anything anymore. right? It's just like, okay, it's like telling somebody you don't like the color blue. They're gonna be like, yeah, so what? Just understand that just because you go red pill, it doesn't mean that everybody in your life, including your own family and friends, are gonna go red pill, because many of them won't, okay? Many of them will not, and many of them are not ready to be red pilled for the reasons I've given you in this coaching video tonight. So I'm gonna wrap up here. Until next time, this is Matt Cross. Don't forget to smash that like button below. Also hit that notification bell up top. And if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do that and hit that subscribe button below. It helps me out a lot. Okay, especially with YouTube, it helps me out a lot when you guys actually subscribe to my channel, so please do that. And for you guys who actually want to support my work and support my content and everything I'm doing here, the best way to support me is by becoming a premium member of my premium Alpha Male channel. And the first month is only $1 for all of my best premium coaching lessons, and that is the absolute best way to support me. It's very easy to get signed up. All you have to do is click that link below in my description box. It'll take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds. So do that now if you want to support my work and my content, and I would very much appreciate it. And until next time, this is Matt Cross signing out. Driving here in the middle of the night. I always seem to shoot these coaching videos when I am coming from a date. Either coming from a date or going to a date. That's when my mind seems to be working best. So, there you have it. All right.